Paul, what was your takeaway?
I was impressed with the focus on deployment options. So Bill talked a lot about any of the new applications coming out, any new systems, Suite for HANA, S4HANA, whatever you want to deploy, having the ability to be on-premise or in the cloud, and whatever flavor of cloud, whether it be public cloud, private cloud, whatever. Specifically for my company, we're in a hybrid environment right now. We've traditionally run everything on-premise, but we've migrated to HANA private cloud. We also use Concur and we use SuccessFactors. So in our environment, we've got a little bit of everything, and the good news that I took away as a customer was around your choice of deployment method isn't going to be driven by SAP. You'll be able to choose what's right for your business, and we'll follow that along. And I think that's a great message. There's a lot of confusion about that and how to do it, and if SAP is going to get behind supporting whatever deployment model you want, or a hybrid combination, that support is a good thing for customers.
Let's talk a little bit about, you've got a new methodology, as I mentioned at the outset.
That is
You're very
correct.
proud of it. We actually have a great diagram of that today. Walk us through a little bit for a customer who maybe doesn't know what this is and why this is so special.
Well, we think when we look at the application lifecycle processes today, that most companies really address those in a fractured way. So what we're trying to do is take a little bit of a step back and help customers inside their context in the world that they live in every day to really quickly identify where are you. So that's like kind of a step one. So how do we do that? We actually use, and we have that here, kind of a visual approach to that, to tie all those together. So the first step, as we say, is really identifying where you're at.
Do a lot of companies have challenges with that? They don't know where they're at?
They really don't. So if you look at CMMI or methodology to try to measure where you are in a process sense, most customers would really not understand where they're at. They know that it's working somehow, but they cannot identify are they at level 1, level 2, 3, or 4, where they're at. So that's what we try to help get to very quickly initially.
Now, what is the next cool thing that you guys are doing that you would tell the ASUG membership?
So one of the things I'd like to share with the ASUG members is we are finding ways, after having worked with you guys for about 6 months, we're finding ways to bring our customers and startups together, matching customers to startups. What we're calling as our internal project called Customer Startup Network, CSUN.
CSUN, easy,
Right?
rolls right off the tongue.
And eventually we'll figure out a real name for this, but you know how names stick. CSUN rolls right off the tongue.
I love it. So what is CSUN?
So CSUN is a way for customers to find and source startups. Right? 'Cause we found when talking with ASUG members, they did not even know about the Startup Focus program and that there are over these 170 plus validated solutions that they can actually go buy today. Right? So how do I even discover these?
Right.
And when I discover these, how can I look at what they're doing, which ones are relevant to me in my industry? And from there, how can I then test, next step would be, how can I test these on my data? And the message we heard from the ASUG members and our customers is, I'd love to have SAP and ASUG in the middle of this. So what we put together is a landscape where they can come in and try these in a non-pressure environment, frictionless way, to discover these and then try them on their data. And we are signing up our first few at SAPPHIRE as we speak, and we did our first session with the Executive Exchange last night at ASUG, and it's been a great reaction so far.
Lots of need for roadmap. Is that something that you're working on, your group's working on? Like, we need to get customers so they can say, we're at point A, I'm buying into S4HANA, tell me how to get there.
Yeah. So let's set strategy aside. It's really about talking with the customer, what is his current situation. And we don't want the customer to be forced to consume at the vendor pace. He needs to have his roadmap that fits to his business. Now, many customers realize they're in more than one business, or their business is transforming, so they want to have that flexibility to start somewhere and really get the benefit fast. And of course, roadmaps do matter. I have a current situation, if stuff works, let's keep it, don't rip it out. It's like the discussion we had last year, the cloud. It is not everything going cloud, but apply cloud where it does make sense, and the same is with the core. You're going to change the core where you need it now.
Does training really have a lack of respect out there among the broader IT organization?
I would have to guess that the answer is yes, because it's really the last thing that everybody thinks about. You know, we all just assume that we know what we need to know to get our job done in the course of the day, and at the end of the day, we affect our customer experience.
Yeah.
It's very, very important to have a positive customer experience, because each and every one of us determines whether our customers will come back tomorrow for another order.
Yeah, that's so true.
And having solid training and a solid foundation helps in that arena.
What about you, Jeff? I'm looking forward to meeting Michael Strahan this afternoon.
Yeah, me
so that'll be
too.
a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to spending the time with all of the people we have here. We've got a record crowd this year, so there's a lot of us around, and we were talking just before about how busy the floor is, and just there's lots of great stories and people doing amazing things with all this SAP technology, and that's what I'm excited to see and listen to those stories.
What in essence was this JetBlue project, and why was it so important, you think?
About a couple of years ago, our CFO had asked us, can we have an 18-month rolling forecast? And in our industry, it's very challenging to address various factors. There's operations due to weather, traffic in the air, etc. So we wanted a better way that our business users can forecast their expenses and look at actuals. So as we went through the due diligence process and looked at various tools, we saw SAP's tool had flexibility and at the same time can work with our existing technical infrastructure and process infrastructure. So, and I'll be quite honest, when I first heard of HANA, I was like, who's she? And I'm sure that people think of that all the time. But just getting past the buzzwords, the way that the FP&A team does their planning is become more centralized, but also allows the FP&A team and the business users to collaborate more effectively of looking at actual data from the SAP ECC system, as well as non-SAP data that looks at our flight segments, our utilization rates, etc. And then they could take it from there and plan onto the future 18 months now, where we'll do some what-if scenario analysis as well. And in the past, we just didn't have that capability. And especially in an industry like ours, where no 2 days are the same, fuel prices will fluctuate, etc.
Clearly going after those markets. Is there, what is that, when you guys go in to meet with customers, what do you guys tell them? What would, if an ASUG member came up to you and talked to you, what do you guys really go in there and sell from your vision all the way, like you said, from start to finish?
So it's basically like we are system integrated in SAP for last 10 years. We have a lot of success stories, and as of now, we didn't lose a single customer, and all of our projects are 100% success, and we implement on time and on budget, and we embrace the new technology, like S4 HANA we are talking, or the e-commerce solutions, right, or even the success factors. We are already investing, and we are actually able to, we are currently doing a couple of POCs for some of our clients on S4 HANA. So we want to educate ourselves before a customer really needs it, and we want to help them by proving and make sure that we actually test them, and then make sure that we smoothly transition our customers into those new technologies. That's what really helping us to really differentiate between others and us in front of our customers.
I guess if either one of you could jump in on this, what if another customer is looking to integrate in Ariba, going in maybe the preparation, what are some tips? You went with Deloitte. Maybe with some tips on how you selected a partner.
So I think to be successful in some of the lessons we learned, one, you need executive approval and a strong business case with return on investment. And then you need to have governance, a plan, and part of that planning was choosing the right partner. SAP and Deloitte have worked very well for us, and they're actually working on a bigger program. But choosing the right partner is definitely part of the equation.
So the data is a really interesting, right? Because it used to be like, oh, Jim here, he kind of knows, and if you don't know who Jim is, you're kind of out of luck. And so, but you really took this data-driven approach. Can you talk a little bit about that, and what were the benefits?
So the benefits of using data, it takes away the question of, is this person a great super user? So typically companies and managers really get the idea of super users, but they don't know where to go forward with it. So when our management comes to me saying we need to revamp the super user program, and I let them know that we're having a low coverage in a particular area, they say, okay, what next? I can come to them with a report and say, in Azerbaijan, in Béziers, these are your strong super users, these are the people that we need to bring into the program.
Well, it's interesting you bring up the SAP, because in the keynote, Bill McDermott this morning, the CEO, was talking about ridding the complexity. And I wonder if you guys, people don't believe it when you say what you can do and then you have to go in and show them, because a lot of, ASUG members, they have complex SAP environments. So they probably think, yeah, okay, yeah, I bet you guys. But when you actually show them, what is their reaction? What do they say to that?
Actually, some people don't believe it. It's too good to be true. Sometimes it becomes something we have to get over.
Right.
But if people take the time to see behind what we're doing, it is working. And honestly, that was a big problem when we first got started, but now we got our customers who are our best salespeople telling the stories of how it's changed their business. We got one customer that's now reduced engineering to 1/5 of the time it used to take.
Wow.
And they even contribute additional sales because the tool, although it's designed for configuration, is used out as marketing by the salespeople and drawing customers into their product and ultimately selling more product to start with.
That's that's business value right there. So Mike, CFO, you're seeing this big project come along and ultimately end up moving to a hosted environment.
Right.
Can you talk just a little bit about, from your perspective, what have been the benefits of actually moving to that hosted environment from what you actually had before, which was mostly on-premise?
Sure, I think there's several benefits. Initially, I think we were impressed by the expertise that we identified with our hosting partner. We knew little about HANA, it's new technology, they were experts, and we felt that they were best equipped to satisfy us from that perspective. It also managed our goals regarding disaster recovery. So we were able to offload that responsibility to them and not have to replicate our equipment at two different sites. Then finally, it helped us satisfy some cash flow issues, because moving to a hosted environment spreads the cost out over time from an operating expense versus a one-time capital expenditure in what will eventually become obsolete equipment.
There must be some decisions, some trade-offs you've had to make when you're talking about something in this kind of a scope of a project.
But
what have those been, and how have you guys made those decisions over the years?
The thing really is, like with all these new technologies, getting your feet wet is one of the big things, and so that's also what really brings us with the trade-offs. So which ones are the systems where I can go a risk to potentially have some negative impact, for instance a performance impact or whatever, where I'm willing to risk that and actually move it to the new technology to get my feet wet, get a really good understanding on what it takes to run in that new technology, to get the right settings and go there. And then from there, further roll out to the other environments. So a very clear one for us, simple things like an SAP GRC system, a very easy one to go to Azure Cloud.
Sure.
Whereas our biggest ERP system with the highest load, that's going to remain on-premise for now. So it's these kind of things that you just look into.
What should be the customer's key takeaway from this new digital strategy?
Well, I'd say two things. First of all, since we're here on ASUG, there's a promotion we're running. If you go buy something and type in ASUG 15, you get 15% off everything on the store. You can do that today.
Oh, wow.
Yep, so feel free to do that. That offer lasts until June 15th.
Okay.
And the second thing is, the mantra of what we're trying to do is want now, buy now, use now. You should be able to go from purchase to production use in 15 minutes.
Why shouldn't an SAP customer be thinking about moving to the cloud?
So let me preface the comments first by saying, if the existing system is working fine, in this case the core HR capabilities, PA, OM, payroll and so forth, there's no reason to immediately move. I think customers can stay there for a reasonable amount of time for the foreseeable future as they prepare and kind of analyze when the cloud move would be right for them. That said, I think there is no better time than to actually look at the options available and start building that longer term roadmap about what the HR solutions are going to look like in the future and what technologies customers will use. I kind of equate this to maybe a car, in that I have an 8 or 10-year-old car in the garage. It gets me from point A to point B very well. I put some new tires on it, maybe had the engine worked on, put some oil in it, but it still fundamentally works. But it doesn't have the onboard computer. It doesn't have the iPod connection. It doesn't have the Bluetooth. It doesn't have GPS, exactly.
Right.
So at some point, those kinds of gaps in capabilities and more modern capabilities are going to reach a point where it becomes time to say, you know what, I need to rethink, and I need to, in this case, buy a new car, or in this case, I guess, implement a new HR system.
What are you seeing with your customers when it comes to data archiving? What is on the top of their mind when you go in there and say, we need to talk data archiving?
I think the main motivation has changed a little bit over the years. Today we see a lot of companies getting interested in maybe moving into the HANA Cloud platform. So they're asking the question, what can we do in order to make that more affordable? And the two main trends are either upgrading the existing systems or doing a completely new implementation. So for existing systems, you obviously want to keep them as small as possible prior to moving into HANA or migrating to HANA, and then also once you're on HANA, keep going with a small footprint, continuously archiving. So the operational data archiving is certainly a very important topic. The other trend we're seeing is completely new greenfield implementations on HANA, and then what do you do with your existing systems? You have to keep the information, so we help customers move all that information into low-cost archive storage so they can decommission the hardware, reduce their cost, and still keep information accessible.